Hello, hello, good morning. It's just another day being a random person on the internet, but at least I'm doing something. Hold on, I gotta sneeze real quick on mute. All right, we're back. Sorry. All right, machine's heating up. Just know the drill. I make like stuff per order, so you never know what I'm making. Well, it's usually the same stuff every time. Hello, hello. What is good in the world today? That's what I want to know. So sick of the random Trump news. I think that's really what it is. So what's good? What's good in the world today? You know what I was thinking? As if you're tuning in now, like I said, I'm just a random guy in his garage, making stuff and just rambling on. Unless there's something you guys want to talk about. But you know what I was thinking today? I think I've talked about this a few times before, but I was thinking about human cloning, and are they just like are they working on that in a secret lab somewhere? They're just not telling us. That's what I want to know. Because here's the thing, right? I am in my like mid late 30s, right? And I remember in middle school, high school, they were talking about cloning already, right? Remember there was that sheep that they cloned. What was it, like Dolly or something, like a sheep name, right? And they cloned that, right? And that was like 20, 30 years ago that they did that. So I'm just wondering, and they could clone your pets right now, right? And they could do all these like modification, like CRISPR baby, like CRISPR kits and stuff. If you guys look into that, that's pretty interesting. Where they kind of like modify your kids a little bit. They could, change hair color, height, and all these other things, right? And cloning. The only reason why we don't have human cloning is because they said they're not going to do it. But that's what they say. What the government says and what they do are like two separate things. Like I think we've talked about it in length before, but I just think about it a lot. I'm reminded about it again because I saw in the news today that was the company 23andMe, they're filing bankruptcy, right? I think it's because they had a huge data breach, right, a while back, and it's starting to come out and all the lawsuits and whatnot. So they're filed for bankruptcy. I think they need to get the company sold and whatnot. But okay, 23andMe, right? They have all this data on you, like blood samples and and ancestry data, which I did 23andMe back in the early days, right? And do you know what it said? Do you know what my 23andMe said? It said I was Asian. It was so bad. It basically um, pointed to Asia and said, "You're from Asian descent." I was like, "Great. I think I know I'm Asian, dude." So that's my experience with 23andMe. But just seeing 23andMe in the news for filing for bankruptcy, it just makes me think about human cloning. And the only reason why governments or companies have not done it is because it's against, there's some kind of law in place that you're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to, um, you're not allowed to do the CRISPR kits, right? The CRISPR kits are basically the superhuman, like super genetically modified humans. You're not allowed to do that because I get the idea of why you're not allowed to do the CRISPR stuff with humans, because it's like it creates the idea that that wave of people are gonna feel superior to us normies, you know. You know what I mean, where it's like, oh, they're genetically modified humans, so they are supposedly supposed to be smarter, faster, stronger, right? And then there's us normies us normal folks out here. And eventually they're gonna be like gonna overthrow us normies. I mean, I think that's the fear that they had, why you're not allowed to do the CRISPR stuff with humans. But this is my point here: who's really monitoring if they are doing that or not? Like, think about it. If you're like a Jeff Bezos, right, or just as even an Elon, right? You don't think Elon has looked into uh, genetically modified superhumans? Maybe maybe his like 18th kid will be a superhuman. Like, I'm pretty sure Elon's looked into this, and all you need is some like lab that's in the jungle somewhere, or you know what I mean, like some jungle lab or some lab that no one knows about, and they just start going to town on cloning superhumans. Did I ever tell you the story about the time I visited this lab that is in the middle of Southern California? So, for those that are new here, I used to work for a commercial finance company, and we basically like help companies lease or finance like equipment and stuff that's in the company. You know, instead of paying cash, you can basically get a loan on it. And typically, banks don't like to. It's not like it's like kind of like getting a loan for a car or a house or whatever, but it's for business stuff. And banks usually sometimes they don't understand like different things or whatnot, so they don't usually lend on this kind of stuff. But there are companies out there that do. Anyways, there was a company that needed a centrifuge. I guess theirs broke down, and they needed one quickly, right? And they were local, which was very nice because I did calling, like cold calling, all over the country, and I would have people. I'd be working with people all over America, basically, right? From Guam to New York, and that was the area that I covered. Anyway, so and we'll send out these like marketing emails and marketing flyers or faxes or whatever. This is back when faxes are still a thing. And I guess this company happened to see my fax or email at the same time their main centrifuge broke. If you guys don't know what a centrifuge is, it's that medical machine that spins, like, you know, like they put the vials of blood in there usually, or vials of chemicals, and it spins around. And theirs broke, right? And it just happened to have perfect timing where theirs broke at the same time one of my marketing emails went out. So they called me and said, okay, we need to buy a new centrifuge. We have a vendor already, but we don't want to use cash for it. We want to finance it so we could use the cash for something else down the road. So I'm like, cool. And they're like, how fast can we get this done? And I was like, thinking to myself, they're local. If they move at the correct pace, literally I could get this done in 2 days. And that's what we did. And then I was thinking to myself, oh, and usually, like I said, we usually work with companies all over America, right? And usually we email or mail everything out. And I never get to see any of these companies, right? It's basically, I'm just a guy, right? I'm literally doing what I'm doing now. Like, I'm just a guy that gets it done, right? And, but this company was local. And I thought to myself, what a great story, or at least a marketing ploy that, hey, this company, that's the one that's like feel good, like, hey, this company was in need. I met their need and extended it because I got the deal done faster than anyone could possibly get it done. Literally, it was the fastest turnarounds on a financing deal at the company. Because usually some of these things takes weeks or days or months to put together. And I was able to do it in like 2 days. there, it's not really me holding up. It's like there's like underwriting and people have to check things and stuff, and we gotta get the money together and we gotta make sure it's legit. Because there, in the equipment financing world, there was a scandal a while back where I'm trying to remember. It's been a long time, but I'm trying to remember exactly how the scam worked. But basically, what would happen was um, the finance company was in on it, the end company was in on it, and the person selling the stuff was in on it. Basically, what would happen is the company said that they need to get something, right? And let's just say it's like $20,000. The company making the stuff, what they're trying to buy, will basically send them a machine. We call it the light machine. That was the insider like industry term for it, the light machine. But basically, this other company would just send them this box, right? It's not a box, but it's like this machine, and it had like a button on there and a light that just lights up. So you press the button, and the button lights up, right? And they would say this thing is like $20,000-$30,000, right? So they're like, hey, we need to buy this light box machine from this company. It's $20,000-$30,000. These are our financials, and everything like checks out, right? And then the finance company comes in, and they're like, oh, what is all this? Like, okay, because the finance company doesn't have any money itself. They borrow money from a bank, right? So then they borrow money from a bank, and the bank looks at everything too. They're like, oh, okay, this company here wants to buy this light box machine. Okay, it's this much. Great, we'll give you guys the money for it, and you guys pay for it here, right? But it's just a box with a light in there. It's not. It's basically like not worth anything. You know what I'm saying? Where it's a big scam, and the loser in this is the bank, right? Because they are lending their money out, assuming that everyone did their thing, and the bank's not dumb too. They send out inspectors, right, to check everything. And when the inspector comes, the thing about how is an inspector for a bank supposed to know what all kinds of things are? Think about it, there's all kinds of stuff. There's ice cream machines. There's excavate. Like there's all kinds of machines of all kinds of stuff everywhere. There's no way that an inspector is an expert in every single field. He's just out there to verify that the company got the machine or whatever they're looking for, and the description matches what they were looking for, right? So an inspector will go out there, and he'll see a box, and there's a button on there, and there's a light, and then he looks at it, and he's like, what does it do? They're like, oh, it does whatever. And if you press this button here, it's working when the light turns on, right? So that's what we call it, the light box. So you press the button and a light will turn on, and the inspector will just sign off on it, and then the bank will send the money to the vendor, right? The person that sold it, and then they'll cut that up, and they'll divvy it out to the end company, and that was a big scam. And then the finance company gets a piece of the deal. That's how we make money, like maybe like 2 or 3% of whatever the loan amount is. And so that was going on until, at the end of the day, you're still financing something, right? So eventually the company someone has to go out. Like usually the company will just go out of business. So they'll just keep racking these things up. They keep buying these light boxes, and then they'll go out of business, or file for bankruptcy or whatever. And this kept on happening, and the banks were like, "What is going on with these light boxes?" Or whatever they were calling it, and then they caught on to it, and then now they started like really inspecting every piece of machinery or equipment that gets financed. How did we get here? Oh, centrifuge. Okay, so back to what I was talking about. Okay, so this company needed to get this centrifuge, right? And I got the deal done, and I decided instead of mailing everything out, mailing the check, or just doing everything through email or whatever, at the very end of the deal is basically once they get the item, I get a check to the to the vendor, whoever was selling the equipment, and everything was local, so it was perfect. So I would go over there, maybe set up a relationship. Look how fast I got your deal done. You guys, anyone else that needs help, I'm the guy, you know. So I'm going off screen at my other thing, fitness cutting. All right, I'm the guy. Come with me. And anyway, so I visit their company, this lab, and at first, you know, I'm talking to the guy. I'm trying to figure out what, while I am working, and he just said that they do, they do like bacterial research, right? So I'm like, okay, cool, bacterial research, whatever. It's a lab, makes sense. And then, but they're in the middle of Orange County, like just in the middle of the city, which is kind of weird. So I'm like, okay. So I'm gonna go. I need some documents signed by them. So I'm like, oh, I'm gonna do this in person instead of emailing it. So I drive out there, and I'm telling you, this is in the middle of, like, I want to say next to Angel Stadium, like that area. If you're familiar with the California landscape, Angel Stadium, Disneyland, near Disneyland, right? And there's this unassuming little like strip mall, right? And inside the strip mall is not inside, but next to this strip mall is like a little building, and it's got like graffiti outside. It looks so run down. Outside looks like any other like strip mall building, whatever, right? And it says on there, the name is like says blah 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 lab. And I'm all like, okay, this is a weird place to have a lab, right? And if you're driving by, you'll think that it's a because it just says blah blah blah, like something lab. It doesn't say anything else. And if you're driving by, you think like maybe it's like some kind of like blood test area, a thing company or something like that, or maybe like an urgent care. It kind of has that kind of vibe, like an urgent care in like a ghetto area. Like there's graffiti everywhere, and buildings are run down. And then so I'm like, okay, this is the place. Okay, so I go inside. The front door, like I said, the whole place looks like run down. The front door is run down. And I'm like, this place needs a centrifuge. It's just doesn't seem right. And he told me, because I talked to the owner, he said that they do like research on like bacteria and stuff. I'm like, okay, it's kind of weird. Like in the middle of a strip mall. And then I go inside. The front door is run down. Once you pass the front door, there's a little waiting area, right? With a little receptionist, and you gotta sign in and everything, right? And then once you sign in, there's another set of doors, right? And then you go through the other set of doors, then all of a sudden it's like, you know, like Resident Evil. You know how it's like that clean office, like clean like medical office white look. It literally, you imagine this, right? Outside, rundown building with graffiti everywhere. Open that door, just a regular receptionist area, nothing fancy pantsy. It looks a little rundown too, that area. Just, it's like the wood is old. There's carpet on the floor, like old carpet on the floor. You have to sign in, and they need all this information from you going inside. So I'm like, okay. And then once they get through that, there's another set of doors. Once you open that door, I'm talking Resident Evil white medical office style, right? I'm like, whoa, what is going on here? And so the owner comes out, he greets me. He's super grateful because they needed this centrifuge machine. And he's like, you want a tour? I'm like, sure, let's walk around. Because I've never seen anything like this before. This is crazy. So he's having me walk around. And he's showing me, oh, that centrifuge machine that you helped us get is here. It's gonna go here. This is our old one. It's gonna go out. And then he shows me a zero gravity room. if you guys don't know what a zero gravity room is, it's basically a room where all the air gets sucked out. So if something spills, there's no splatter because there's no air in there. There's no dust. Like the air gets sucked out. Oh, maybe I'm describing. Maybe I'm naming it. It's not zero gravity. It's zero. It's zero something. Where basically they suck all the air out. So even if it's like an airborne virus or anything, like it doesn't go anywhere because there's no air for it to travel anywhere. So he shows me that, and it's all glass, so you can see inside, right? And I'm like asking him, like, "Oh, this is really cool. I've never seen one of these before. Like one of these rooms. Like, what do you guys do in there?" And he's like, "Oh, we just have some like some bacteria and viruses in there." I'm like, "Oh, really? What kind?" And he's like, "Oh, grade." He told me the grade. I forget, but it was like the way he described it was like, "Oh, there's different grades, and we work with this grade." And I remember him saying, "Oh, this is the grade that has like this like Ebola level." I'm like, "You're telling me there's a lab next to Disneyland in an unassuming strip mall that has Ebola grade bacteria and viruses being researched?" And I was just so mind blown. But the reason why I'm telling this story is that it makes me think about cloning, right? And how many black site like random labs are there that are just secretly working on cloning, because like they've had cloning technology now for many years, right? Like think about it. When I was a kid, they cloned that sheep, and then now there's a service that you can clone your pets, right? Which I find you know what I think about cloning though? What I find very interesting. So they can clone you, right? But I think how it works is that or at least for pets, how it works is that you don't come out. You're like a newborn, right? And you're that dog again. That it's that dog again, but newborn. So like, right? Because they're not like making a. So when a lot of people think about cloning, they're thinking about like, I don't know. Some people think like full on copy of you. No, it would if they clone for real. Like if they clone you, it literally would be baby you, and you have to live life all over again. But it's you. Okay, but this is what I was thinking about cloning, right? Is that like you know how inside your head you have the inner monologue? Would the inner monologue be exactly the same? Or is this person completely different? Like you just look like you, but it's actually not you inside, you know, like inside, because the experiences are different. All right. First apron set, head chef, Robert, sous chef, Annie, and every single time, I'm telling you, if you guys keep watching and you see that I've made a couple of these couples apron sets before, especially this one, the head chef, sous chef, every single time, without fail, and I've mentioned this a gajillion times, they always put male head chef, female sous chef. But as I keep saying, in your household, uh, usually the lady cooks. But everybody orders head chef, guy, sous chef. You know, a sous chef is an assistant chef, lady. It's just an interesting thing to me that I find that they keep doing that. Is I'm telling you, you go back and you watch all the aprons I make, especially that one. They always put guy as the head and the female as the assistant. But realistically, it should be the other way around. But yeah, back to cloning. Okay, I like that's something that I wonder about. Like, is it? Sorry, let me check this. It's on. Is it like I the idea is for it to look like you, but inside is that you again? Because you know, you what makes you you is your experiences, right? And your clone is not going to have the same experiences that you did because I mean, naturally, it grew up in a different time. Like, it's not going to know about 9/11, right? It's not going to know about any of the stuff that you went through, the bully that shaped this part of your life, or what random idea you had because of that time or whatever. It's not going to have all that. So, I mean, have you seen those stories of? Not even. I'm sure you must have seen it by now. Like the footage of people that grew up and not. I'm sorry, not even footage. People that grew up in different areas develop that accent, right? Like I'm sure you've seen like an Asian guy with a Jamaican accent or something like that, right? So if you clone yourself and you're like in a different country and that person develops like your clone you develops like a weird accent like that totally changes who you are. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but that's what I wonder if they are cloning people right now. And would you want to be cloned? That's the next wave. I bet you Elon's already working on this. Don't you think so? Like I feel like he would totally try to clone himself. All right, you guys have to come with me. I just saw this order. I didn't even know I had this, or maybe I had it. I just forgot about it. So you gotta come with me. I gotta design this. It's a onesie set for Lily and Sophie, twinsies. Now, like I keep saying, right? If you guys watch this a lot, I make a lot of those onesie sets, and I swear this is because I don't know if it's because it's a. Sorry, I gotta close the garage. This makes bad footage. Me walking back and forth like this. I don't know if it's like a new thing or not, or maybe because it's actually twins. I'm making twins stuff, but I feel like there are more twins uh, now than ever. Just like when I was growing up, there were no twins. Now I get this orders for like different twinsy stuff, like every other day or every day or multiples a day, you know. And so yeah, that got me wondering: is that IVF? Because I know when you do IVF, like the chances of twinning is more, right? And that's also part of cloning, no? I'm telling you, this cloning thing, I don't know why it's been on my mind lately. Maybe because I see Elon a lot more, like because he's on the news, and I'm telling you, Elon would be the first person that'd be looking into cloning. Because think about it, okay? Maybe that's why he's trying to get so many kids. He's trying to find, like the storyline arcs of like certain shows and whatnot, that they need to find the right person, and then the rich billionaire person like tries multiple times, and then it's the one that got away or whatever, you know. um, Maybe he's trying to find the perfect genetic match for him to clone himself. Okay, because here's my theory now. Okay, it just appeared to me like it, and this is what we do. So I'm talking about things pop in my head, and we're gonna run with it. Okay, this is my theory. Okay, he wants to go to Mars. Okay, but it's a multi-generational project. Even just space travel is a multi-generational project, right? Because let's aim beyond Mars And what is the idea over there? The idea is to eventually colonize it, right? Or something like that. That's a multi-generational project. It doesn't happen all of a sudden. I mean, just think about the trip to Mars. I believe they said that it takes about a year. Someone can fact check. This has been a long time. I mean, they said that Elon said that the project was supposed to be, they were supposed to have someone land on Mars by now. I think 2025 was the deadline that he gave back in like the late teens. I forget. Yeah, but I remember them talking about it for a very long time. And I remember 2025 was the target where they're going to launch. No, 2024 was when they were supposed to launch. Someone start the ship, because it takes a year. Start the ship to go to Mars, and by 2025, someone was supposed to land. And we're in 2025 now, and nothing, Elon. Disappointed in you. Anyways, back to what I was talking about, cloning. Okay, it's a generational project, because to make space work, you need to constantly, well, at least I know for the Mars plan, the idea is, I don't know if the plans changed. I don't keep updated on Mars travel, but I remember the plan a long time ago. This is when 3D printing first came out. I don't know if you guys remember this, but the original plan was for a crew to go over there, right? And they were going to start launching ships to Mars once a week, once a month, or something like that. I believe that was the plan. And the idea was first crew lands over there, and they're going to start building a return pad. Right, and then they're going to start trying to launch ships to Mars like once a month or something of that nature. And each one that gets launched has different gear and stuff to build the return pad. Right, and so that was the idea, that they're going to launch a new ship to Mars every month with different gear and stuff. And eventually, they'll bring enough stuff over to Mars that they'll build a relaunch pad. Sorry, I'm trying to get this thumb drive in. Ugh. Ugh. Sorry, my thumb drive, this thumb drive, I guess you can see. It broke, so now it doesn't want to go in. If I fully break it, it'll be easier. There you go. Anyways, yeah, so that was the idea. They're gonna, there you go, continuously launch ships over there, and eventually they were going to get enough stuff to build a relaunch pad. That's the whole idea of why they needed the SpaceX rocket ships to be reusable, because you're gonna land over there, and you're gonna rebuild all the pieces for you to come back. Because that would suck if you spend all that time to go to Mars and then you get stuck on Mars. That basically the one person journey, the one-way journey, that would suck. And okay, back to my cloning idea, right? Why I'm telling you there's most likely a secret lab. So if you think about it, how perfect would it be if once we start getting people onto Mars, and as Elon gets older and older, eventually he's not going to be able to do it anymore, and by that time his little new clone baby will take over. And like if they already started doing it, I mean, technically in like maybe like 15 years from now. Because think about it, the cloning stuff, it's been around for a long time. They just all promised not to do it to humans. But who's stopping them? No. Because you're telling me that there's no lab in China somewhere working on this. And then you know how like how all the legend stuff works, right? It's like they're doing it, so we gotta do it, so they don't do it. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I'm gonna put this down. Sorry. Poop. Dun, dun, dun. So yeah, cloning. I'm telling you, one day as Elon gets real old, right? Just imagine, like because maybe this relates to why he's having so many kids. Okay, think about this. Okay, conspiracy theory time. Okay, so as he gets older and older, he's not going to be as capable, right? And then when he's finally at like near death, he's going to introduce his new heir, a kid, maybe we've never seen before, right? And maybe that's why he's trying to have so many kids, and it's like he's trying to murk up the waters, right? For you to figure out which one is a clone and which one's just a regular normie baby. What did you guys think? Totally possible. They can clone dogs. I mean, they can clone pets and stuff. That's not that much different than cloning a human. Like later on, it's just going to be Nick Cannon and Elon. But all right, I got a phone call, so I gotta go. Right back.